Well, good morning, my garden friends and my YouTube friends. I haven't done a backyard sweep for quite some time, so I wanted to bring you back here first and just show you what I'm growing. You can see the Plumeria are still looking like they have fungus on their leaves, and so I'm here in Central Florida, and I'm just going to let it take its course. When it gets to be winter and the leaves are gone, then the fungus will, we'll have drier months, and the fungus will go away. But here is the papaya that my friend gave me, and I planted in mid-March, and I had the first few fruit drop off of it. Well, now I have probably about, I think there's probably about 18 or 20 on here that are still hanging on, which is a good thing. I tried making like a little makeshift sock for it to hold it on, because this was kind of hanging like it was going to fall, and I now realize that this is just the way the stem kind of bends. So, I'll just show you like here's my hand. So it's about the length of my hand, and I would guess it's maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 ounces. When they start to turn yellow, then you know that they're ripe. And we used to eat them in Hawaii and thought they were wonderful. And I've had a few here. I'm hoping this turns out to be something wonderful that I love and that I can get lots of seeds from it. But let me just drop down here. I mean, it's quite a tall, probably about, I bet it's at least 10 feet now. I have some pentas underneath that are blooming, and the pampas grass, purple fountain grass, excuse me, is growing just nice. And in the fall, it sends out these really pretty bloom little seed heads, and I can use those for decorating, or I could use them for an arrangement. These are Amaryllis that are in between. For people who are always asking, what do I do with my Amaryllis? Some of them stay just in the ground year after year. And then, like over here, I can see I have one that has kind of died back on the base of it. So I'll dig all of those up, and I'll probably have 6 or 8 bulbs in there that came from just the one. And over here, I can see that I've probably got 4 or 5. So it's nice to take them up and divide them if you're in the South and you just leave your bulbs in the ground. That is if you want to multiply. My friend Nick, young man who is he's taking health sciences, and he's really a young gardener. He's only 21, but he's really into all of the older varieties in Florida, and that grow well in Florida. And one of these is called a Brazilian spinach. It's kind of a ruffled little leaf, and I've tasted it when it's young, and as it starts to get these bigger leaves on it, I think they would probably taste better if they were cooked. So he's also told me that if I take some cuttings from it, 6-8 inch cuttings, and then just stick them in some soil, or I guess I could dip them in root tone, and that would help. Caladium, I planted 400 caladiums over a period of about maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years, 100 at a time, and I still have them coming up. They're a little waning, less and less each year. Mother-in-law's tongue, Sansevieria, snake plant, whatever you want to call it. The moringas that he gave me, the one I have over, I'll walk around and show you the biggest one. And then this was just a little seed that I stuck in the same pot with it. And this past weekend I had the chance to divide them, and I planted them both in the ground. And then he gave me another moringa. We swapped. I had worm leachate that he wanted, and he said, I'll give you some more cuttings. So that was fine, And the penta in the front is just a volunteer that I stuck. My trees back here, it's a Crepe Myrtle. You can see the Crepe Myrtle has totally gone to seed pod at the top, and I will just leave that. The birds, some of them seem to come over, some don't. I think I have so much going on in this back preserve that most birds and squirrels or whatever really don't need to attack my yard. This is a Florida red maple. Although it never really, we get a little tinge of red on it, but nothing major. This is the Crepe Myrtle that was a volunteer from the one that's in the front yard, and you can see that they send suckers off down below, and I just keep cutting them back. If I wanted to, I could dig down and separate that from below the ground level and get more and more Crepe Myrtle, but I'm fine with what I have. Tea plants, that's T-I, but it's pronounced like the tea we drink. And they were cuttings from a neighbor's yard. He had them thrown in the trash. I went over and rescued them, and as with all of my things here, they're either free or just things that I've picked up along the way. This is a mango that I grew from seed, and you can see it's really starting to get its body here. I have to say, during the summer it looked like I was going to lose both of them because of the heat, but we're starting to get into the 80s versus 90s. And the nights are cooling down from the high 70s into about 70. For the next 10 days, we're supposed to be in the 60s at night, so in the 80s during the day. So that's really great weather. Excuse me. The plants in here are just incredible. This was Chinese multicolored spinach that is from the Amaranth family. And when I planted the seeds in pots, they just looked like they just wimped along and they weren't really going to make it. Well, once they took off, then it was just incredible. They just spring up, and they look so much like coleus that it really does look like an ornamental plant. And so anyway, what I did is when they started to develop seed heads, I'll just pull you in closer here. When they started to develop these seed heads, then I just kind of let them go. And then after I took them and stripped the leaves off of it, I just took those heads and I rubbed them between my fingers. And some of them I just brought back here like, a chop and drop. And as you can see, they have just completely reseeded this whole area. There's a couple coleus in there. And once you know the difference, then it's very obvious. But I mean, it would make a great ground cover. I plan on going through and picking like maybe every fourth or fifth one, or just little handsful, and we'll have that for salad. And although it tastes really good if you cook it, and then I'll let the rest go and grow larger and let them seed themselves. Again, the tea plants, spathiphyllum below it, they look beautiful. They've just, that whole, I'm real pleased with that section. My hibiscus has grown nicely and seems to be warding off any aphids, any problems that I had all during the summer. I just kept treating things with worm leachate and anything homeopathic that I could think of, including that BC powder that I put in water and then just spray it on there. Below it is called gold dust, and it's just kind of like a creeping little, what do I want to call it, a little plant, but I mean it just creeps right along and it acts like a great ground cover. The agapanthus looks good. I left a couple of the seed heads up there. We'll see if anything germinates down below, but I'm not holding my breath on that. You guys watched me whenever I did the sweet potato vines, and I thought that that would make a great shade cover for anything growing below. And the sweet potato vines they've taken off, and I need to almost cut those back, and you can take the leaves and then use those you can eat those, and I think they would be good. This one is really shown how good it looks. Not get into the sun here. Whoops, my hand is in the way. I do apologize there. I didn't realize that. And look at this down below. Again, all I did was take a seed head and rub it between my hands, and then just left it lay there, and it has just gone crazy. Let me pull one up for you and show you. Let me pull up a couple. I'll just lay it right there. Now this will make a good, because they're young like this, these will make a good salad. Just good salad greens. So it is called a Chinese multicolored spinach. The seeds came from Baker's Creek. It will say amaranth on it. And yet when I think of amaranth, I think of the ones that are really big, that have big red tassels that hang. But I guess this is just another variety. I've really used a lot of grass clippings this year, cardboard underneath, and as you can see, I'm really limiting the weeds that I have. I have some pentas starting back there, trying to coax those in. Again, another sweet potato. I'm assuming that when I turn this over, I am going to have some big tubers in there. At least I'm hoping. Anyway, I did notice that this year, because I'm not really treating anything with chemicals, this year I got like a second flush from the Plumeria trees that they're sending out bloom heads. So you can see the bloom head up there. And I'm picking up Plumeria blossoms. I need to do something with my Amaryllis. I have 10 pots back there with a bulb in, and I think some of them have divided, but you know, I need to take care of that. They're not calling me too loudly, so I'm not rushing over to do it. I wanted to show you this side, and this is a pigeon pea. Again, my friend Nick gave me these, and it was a pigeon pea. It was probably only about 6 inches tall when he gave it to me. This is some purple lady bok choy and some curly kale, and then this is another moringa plant. You can take these, you can eat these raw. They're very good for your digestion. You can not air dry it, but you can put it in your dehydrator, and then take what's dehydrated and make a powder out of it, and you can use that in your food, or you can drink it, and it's again very good for your health, very good for your digestion. And then here in the center is the other mango, and I had to actually dig it up a little bit and move it to the side so that I have even area in between the two. But I wanted to show you the little tomatoes. Remember I showed you how I planted those, and on my little side wing here, and they seem to be surviving. Our nights are getting cooler. These are basil plants, and then this is the Everglades tomatoes. But I wanted to show you, wanted to back off here. We had a heavy rain the other night, so everything kind of washed forward. But can you see those? Can you see the little tomatoes? Oh, I guess I'm not getting really in focus. There they are. And so I've got several that the blossoms before, I won't take it back any further, but the blossoms before were just falling off, and now at least they're hanging on and they're turning into little green jewels. So I'm hoping that in another couple weeks we will have some nice tomatoes to show you. Anyway, I'll pull you back here. Rick is chomping at the bit here. He wants to cut the grass so that he can go and write his old guy walking blog that he writes, and I will just give you a beautiful view of our pine trees and everything else that we get to enjoy back here. And I'll say, garden what you've got. I hope you're enjoying a wonderful day and this wonderful fall weather. I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.